looking for. Oh!
People, hello, how are we? Hopefully we're all doing well. I'm Tom. As you will have just seen, Jai Opetaia is one bad man, and he takes on Jack Massey this weekend on the Opetaia versus Bivol undercard on Riyadh season, Saudi Arabia. I actually think it's going to be quite a good fight, you know. It's not the fight that Jai Opetaia will have wanted. Look, he's been offering out all the current champions fights. He clearly wants it. Offered Crispin Smith even some of his purse. They don't want it, and look, who can blame them? Like I said, he's a bad man. You've just seen some of his highlights. He's a bad man. Now, taking a deeper dive, looking at Jack Massey, I'd put him slightly above European level. He's top European level, maybe lower world level. He's stepped up a few times and he has come short a few times, but make no mistake, he's put on good performances. That's why he keeps getting more chances, because he's a top fighter. He's not a top fighter, but he's a top fighter. Like I say, lower world level, upper European level. He's proved himself to be in and around that sort of caliber, that sort of standard. He's a good fighter. And obviously the fight that everyone knows him for is that sort of late, when he stepped in late against Joseph. And obviously that fight that everyone knows him for is when he stepped in late versus Joseph Parker. Parker weighed in at 30 pounds heavier than him, and he still managed to push Parker to a decision point. Parker couldn't stop him, and that's, you know, him going up to heavyweight, losing 30 pounds on Parker. Parker, as we've seen, is a top heavyweight, like a top heavyweight. And we've seen him able to go to a decision loss against Joseph Parker. That shows Jack Massey really is tough as nails. And then looking at Jai's always been a top talent, right from his sort of youth days when he qualified at 16 and 7 and then went to the Olympics at 17 years old, boxing in the same division as Alexander Usyk. He's always been a top talent. He just wasn't able to show it. And then he got the opportunity to fight Marius Briedis, who at the time was the #1 cruiserweight on the planet. He then beat Marius Briedis, and the way he beat him too, that really announced him on the world stage. Got him some huge fights. That's when he came overseas to the UK, took on some UK fighters, really announced him on the scene. And since then, he's picked up quite a good following within the UK. I think Eddie Hearn's obviously to thank for that. Being part of Matchroom Promotions, obviously to thank for that. But that's what really announced him on the world stage. But make no mistake, he's been a top talent for a very long time. It's not like he's only been around since that fight. And to the people that are disappointed that he's fighting Jack Massey, two things. Number one, put some respect on Jack Massey's name. And number two, Jai has offered this fight to the other champions. The other champions just don't want to hear it. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. But they'd rather go around, as like I said this earlier, they'd rather go around and fight each other and sort out the rest of the belts between them, and then the winner will go on and fight Jai. And like I say, I get it. Jai's clearly the toughest fight for each of those other champions. I think they see that. Whilst they might believe they can beat Jai, I think they understand that Jai is the toughest fight for them in that division. So the best thing they can do is go and try and mop up the other belts, bring more to the table against Jai, have it as a 70-30, probably push for an 80-20 split, and then fight Jai. Like I said, I get it, but sitting here saying, oh, I'm disappointed Jai's not fighting somebody else, like a Crispin Smith, that's not... Jai can only fight people that will fight him, and they don't want to hear it. And I think the only other thing I want to say about Jai Opetaia is after he beat Marius Briedis the first time, doing it how he did it with the broken jaw, etc., there was a lot of hype put around him that he was sort of the next coming. And whilst maybe there was a bit too much hype put around him, I think the hate, or not hate, but people saying he's not all that he's got since his second performance to Marius Briedis is completely unwarranted. Look, I get it, he didn't go in there and blow him out the water and knock him out inside 3 rounds. But at the end of the day, I said in my pre-fight prediction to that fight, I think he's going to go into that fight with some skeletons in the closet because of how the first fight went with that broken jaw and all that. At the end of the day, I think that's just what happened. He went in there, built up a steady lead. I think he went looking for the knockout. I think he wanted to knock Briedis out, and that didn't help. Kind of tired himself out. And then I don't think he wanted to go to that dark place again. Look, he beat him once. He built up a healthy lead, and then after that, why does he need to go back to that dark place and risk his jaw and things like that and the future of his career when he can just go in there and get the job done? And I think that's what he did. I think he was suffering with some demons from the first fight. I think he thought, let's just go in there and get the job done. And I think that's also how I think he wanted to get the knockout. I think he went looking for the knockout, which is tough to do against Briedis. Briedis has a way of just dogging it out. He'll just dog it out of you. He absolutely will. He'll go in there and he'll make you look worse than you are. The same way Chris Billam-Smith, we saw it against Lawrence Okoli, we saw it against Richard Brackpool. He'll make you look worse than you are. He'll dog it out, make you look worse than you are, perhaps have a boring performance, a boring fight, but get the job done. Breeders has a habit of doing that. He's really good at doing that. I think Giant in there wanting to knock him out, looking to knock him out, trying to get the fight done with, especially because they say the skeleton's in the closet from the first fight. It didn't happen. And then he thought, let's just get the job done. Let's get in, let's get out. And that's what happened. I think the hate he got from that, not necessarily hate, hate's the wrong word, but people are sitting here now saying that Chris Billam-Smith gives him a run for his money. He doesn't. But Chris Billam-Smith gives him a run for his money, and he's not all this, and he's overrated, he's a hype job. It's completely unwarranted. And the other side of that coin is look at who he's against. I've already touched on Breedis' style of dogging it out, but he's also, in my opinion, Marius Breedis is the second best cruiserweight on the planet. He beats every other champion and every other title contender. I think he beats them all. Billam-Smith, Ramirez, I think he beats every other cruiserweight on the planet. I think he kind of does it, not handily, but I don't think it would be a controversial win either. And if he doesn't win, he pushes them to a very, very, very tough win on their part. I think he went in there with the second best cruiserweight on the planet and came away with 2 wins. He beat him twice. He went in there when he was number 1, beat him, took his spot, went in there again because of the politics of boxing to regain a title, and did it, proving he is the number 1. Like, he beat, in my opinion, the second best cruiserweight on the planet twice. And people want to sit there and say that Chris Billam-Smith gives him money for his money. I don't think he does, because I think he beat Breedis, who beats Billam-Smith. And yeah, okay, triangle theory doesn't necessarily work, but he beat the second best cruiserweight on the planet. Let's not forget what Breedis did to Usyk. Breedis gave Usyk his closest fight ever. Breedis gave Usyk a fight that people think Breedis should have won. Usyk should have lost. Now, whilst I don't think that, I'm saying a lot of people do. What I'm saying is Jai beat the second best cruiserweight on the planet twice. He really is that guy. So I think looking at this fight, even though it's not the unification fight that Jai Opetaia would have wanted, like he said he wanted to go around and collect all the belts one by one. So whilst he's not getting the opportunity to do that, I do think it's a fight he's going to be really and truly up for. I think he's going to want to prove everyone wrong after saying what they said after the Marius Breedis 2 fight. And he's going to want to put on a show on the undercard of Beterbiev Bivol, given the links and the rumours about him fighting the winner. You know, Turki Al-Sheikh, who's put on this show, has said that he wants the winner of Beterbiev Bivol to go on and fight Jai Opetaia. And whilst I've already said that I don't think Bivol will do that, and I think Bivol will win, he could certainly fight Beterbiev. And I think he'll fancy himself in that fight just simply because he's bigger, if nothing else, whilst they are 2 phenomenal boxers. And I think that actually is somewhat of a super fight in boxing. So I think he's going to want to go in there and put on a show because of the undercard and the occasion. But I also think he's going to want to go in there and put on a show for his own sake. Look, he didn't have his best performance against Marius Breedis. I'll admit that. Of course he didn't. He didn't have a great performance against Marius Breedis. And I think he's going to want to go in there and correct that. He stepped up to fight Marius Breedis twice, and he beat him twice, but he didn't blow the world away in that second one. And he had a good knockout before that, but it wasn't against top opposition, and this is against top opposition. So he's going to want to go in there, lay a statement down, both for himself to really take off, both for the doubters who said he didn't perform against Marius Breedis, and also because he's on the undercard in Riyadh season, and he'll be of Bivol Beterbiev, and he'll be looking at fighting potentially the winner of that. So how do I see this fight going? Well, I think Jai's going to look really good in this. I think Jai's going to have a really good performance and look really good in this. I think he's going to put on a clinical boxing display. And I think he's going to cruise to a victory. But I struggle to see him getting a knockout. I really want to say Jai's going to knock him out. I really want to sit here and tell you my prediction. Jai's going to knock him out and look good doing it. I kind of do think that. But I think perhaps I just respect Jack Massey a little bit too much. After watching what he did, not I guess what he did, but how he did against Joseph Parker, I think I put too much respect on his name. So I'm going to go for a Jai Opetaia points victory. I think he'll look good doing it. I think it's all going to go sitting here saying how well he did against Joseph Parker. Jai Opetaia is not Joseph Parker. He's a southpaw, which we know everyone struggles with more. He's quick. He's much quicker, really, really quick. His footwork and movements just mind-boggling. Like, it's so good for a guy his size because he is a big guy. And he is powerful. And when you get hit by powerful punches that you don't see coming, That's what got him the knockout against Elisoro. Yeah, it was Elisoro. That's what got him that knockout, was he got hit with a punch he didn't see coming. That was also really powerful. And when you get hit with those sorts of punches, it's hard. It's hard to fight against that. And I just think it's going to be a different fight to what we saw against Joseph Parker. So I think he'll win quite comfortably. I think it will be a one-sided fight. I put too much respect on him to see him getting knocked out by Jai. But I certainly could see it coming. I could see him doing what he did again against Zorro. That looping overhand left, catching him and putting him to sleep. But I'm going to go for a Jai Opetaia points victory, a wide decision, a comfortable decision. I think he's too quick, not too small, but he is smaller than Massey, isn't he? So I think, whereas Parker's bigger than him, I think this is the flip side. This is somebody who's smaller, quicker, better movement. And I think that's where the heavyweights are really struggling with Usyk. And I think this is what this is going to be. Somebody who's just a better boxer, quicker than you, a southpaw, better movement. And I think that's going to get him to a wide points decision. But I really wouldn't be surprised to see him stop him later on through just sheer accumulation. Jai Opetaia is relentless, and he's quick, and he is powerful. So accumulation might get to him later on. I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but I am going to go for a Jai Opetaia points decision. People, you let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Look forward to reading it. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you know how YouTube works. Peace.